Happy Halloween, motherfuckers. You already know what time it is. I'm dressed for the occasion. And we're doing a classic that came out in the 1960s called Psycho. Now we start with these two people in a motel, Sam and Marion. He just finished giving her the business. They're supposed to be sneaking around getting together or whatever like that. Now Sam has got like an ex-wife. But the thing is, neither one of them are attached to anybody, so why they sneaking around? But anyway, she's saying this got to be the last time they meet up or whatever like that, but they kind of love each other. So apparently she was doing this on break. She needed to go back to work. She's basically like a receptionist at this bank. So she's talking to one of the other receptionists, and we find out that she actually has a sister. Now, this dude with his Texas hat in comes in. He's just talking trash. He drops like $40,000 on him. And the boss is trusting her to put it in the bank. So she said after she does that, she's going to go home and take a rest because she got a headache or something. But when she gets home, she starts packing bags and shit. We keep looking back at the money. I'm like, yeah. This chick, Marion's going to dip off with the money. While she's driving, she sees her boss and the dude going together to get some drinks. He looks at her but doesn't say much. He doesn't think of it. He just keeps going back and drinking. I'm thinking her plan is she's going to go to her sister back in Arizona. So your bottom line is she stole $40,000. Crazy thing was she was actually working at that bank for like 10 years. So her boss wouldn't suspect her doing something crazy like that, right? I guess she was driving for like a whole day because we see her car on the side of the road and she was asleep. Then the officer pulls up on her. He was just checking on her to make sure she was good. He said she pulled over because she was getting sleepy on the road and whatnot. But she didn't mean to sleep for that long. So he checks her license, gives it back to her, then she dips out. She ends up going to this car dealership, right? When we get to the dealership on the other side of the street, we see that same officer. We was like, man, maybe he was following her. He gets out the car and just starts staring at her. So basically, she's just there to trade cars. The guy says, yeah, you can trade the car, I just need $700. So she goes to the bathroom, right? She digs in her purse to get the title for the car, and then she goes in her purse to get $700. She pays him and then dips off, but not before the guy gives her a bag, so she was about to leave him in her car. We see the officer over there, too, just chilling. And every time she talked to somebody, everybody tried to feel like she was trying to get away from something. She would just say she's in a hurry. I wouldn't want nobody around me neither if I just stole $40,000 and shit, especially police officers. So she's driving for a while, all of a sudden it starts raining, pouring down. So she pulls off on the side of the road and checks into what? The Bates Motel. It's run by this guy by the name of Norman Bates. Her plan is basically to check in and leave out the next day. So it's set up like this. They got 12 cabins, right? But next to the hotel is his actual house. That's where Norman Bates and his mom stay at. He checks her in the cabin 1. He tells them there's a diner up the street, like 15 miles up the street, but the thing is, it's been pouring down raining, right? So he says after he checks her in, he's going to fix some food and send it down so they can have like a little, dinner date or whatever. So she basically gets settled in. She's writing down her expenditures and how much she spent. Then she tore the paper up and threw it in the toilet. At one point in the travel, she picked up a newspaper. Matter of fact, she picked it up at the car dealership when she got the car. She's tired of keeping the money in an envelope, so what she does is she wraps the money in the newspaper and then puts it on the table. Norman comes back with a tray. It's got like sandwiches and milk on it. But he doesn't want to eat in a room. He's like, oh, we can eat in my office or whatever like that. So we go in the back door of the office. Those office got like pictures, but it's really got these stuffed birds. Now, before he came down there with the sandwiches or whatever like that, Marion had heard him arguing with his mom. She kept complaining about she didn't want her here or whatever like that. Like, she might be a harlot or a gold digger or something. Thinking to myself, like, yo, she's a paying customer at your hotel. So in the back room eating, he starts explaining about his mom and stuff like that, talking about she's seriously ill. So they start talking about things about what they want to do. She's talking about she wants to buy a private island. The whole conversation stems about trying to get away from something. So he starts explaining before he got this hotel, he was a taxidermy. Basically stuffing animals, but specifically birds. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Yep. It's crazy. My bad, the button froze. Anyway, so then she asks him, don't you want to get away too? But then he says, well, I can't leave my mom there. Then she says, why don't you try to put her in like a home? And the thing that he interprets from that is, he thinks she wants her to put her in some type of like institution or like a nut house. Yeah, conversation went left real quick. So Marion apologizes and whatnot. They eat and she ended up going back in her room. So she goes back and take a shower and then you can't see the face, but somebody in the wig comes in there and starts to stab it and shit. Marion, done deal, she out of here. I've always seen this scene from back in the day, some Alfred Hitchcock gangster shit, right? The crazy part is we're only halfway through the movie. Still got like a whole nother hour. Then the mom screaming like, it's blood everywhere. And I'm like, wait, how the fuck would she know that? And if she's so ill, what reason would she have to go in the cabin 1 and just start murking niggas? And on top of that, how would she get it if she didn't have a key? But this show, he had 3 sets of keys to each cabin, so maybe he came in the rental office and got it popping, but okay. So anyway, Norman rushes down there and sees the calamity. He's looking all shocked and surprised, but then we're like, okay. And he calms himself together and cleans up the mess. What he does? Cleans up the blood, takes the curtain, puts her on the curtain, wraps her around in the curtain, and throw her and her belongings in her own car in the trunk. He goes back to see if he missed anything, and he sees a newspaper over there. He grabs the newspaper. It's so wrapped around tight, he just feels like it's a regular newspaper, and he throws it in the fucking trunk. Basically pushes the car into the lake, and then the lake just sucks up the whole car. Done deal. And all of a sudden, we see Sam talking to Lila, Marion's sister. She's been looking for her, she can't find her, whatever like that, right? Then they end up talking to this private detective by the name of Arbo. So he's been signed on to look for her and the money. Here's the thing, nobody's heard from Marion for about a week. Keep that in mind, it's been a fucking week since then. So the private investigator does this digging and he finds out that the last place that she went to was the hotel. And he goes to talk to Norman. He's getting a little bit of stuff out of Norman, but Norman starts stuttering on his words, so he's like, He knows he's lying about something, but he's not sure what. Marion signed in at the desk, she signed in by a different name. She signed in by Maria Samuels. Why she used Samuels? Because he was thinking of her lover, Sam. He wanted to switch her real name up slightly, but just enough to be like, all right. Now, he was comparing her handwriting to an old letter that he received or whatever like that, right? So in his mind, he definitely knows she was here. So Arbo was telling Lala this information, right? So basically, he's going to be doing a little snooping around and trying to figure out what's going on in that house. So when he goes back, Norman doesn't seem to be around, right? So he ends up checking the house or whatever like that. He ends up going up the steps, and all of a sudden, Mom comes out of nowhere with a knife. Deet, 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 deet. Stabs Arbo, he falls all the way down the steps. He's done doing daddy shit. Now, because Arbo ain't come back, Lila and Sam getting worried. Now, where they bury Arbo? Maybe in the house, maybe in the swamp. We don't know. Sam goes to the hotel. He's looking for people. He don't see nobody. Comes back to tell Lila the information. Now, the thing is, Lila wanted to go, but she couldn't go because Sam told her to stay here just in case Arbo came back. So the thing is, the reason they hired a private investigator because they don't want to go in straight to the cops. Lila just wanted her sister to return the money and all this other stuff without getting everybody involved. Well, at this point, everybody's missing, so they ain't got no choice. Now they got to talk to the sheriff. So they talked to him about the situation with Norman Bates and the mom. The thing is, the sheriff actually knows Norman Bates' mom pretty well. In fact, he was like, there's no way you could have been talking to her mom because his mom died like 10 years ago. We're like, what? So yeah, now Sam and Lila definitely know something's up. So another thing I forgot to mention, right? When Marion was still alive and she was talking to Norman, she was talking to him about the lights on the hotel because sometimes they turn the lights on and turn it off. The thing is, he had told her, we really don't get no way customers like that. In fact, like you've been the first one in like years. Because the reason being, the hotel used to still in the highway, but now they had built another highway, so it's off the highway. A lot of people don't really stop at their establishment, so Norman says. So yeah, just wanted to throw that at you. So now at this point, Sam and Lila are going to come up with a situation to try to figure out if what's been happening to his sister, is his sister dead or not, and what's up with Norman. So they're going to do their own investigation. So Sam and Lila are going to pretend to be married to check into a room there. So he checks them into cabin 10. So while Norman ends up going back to the house, Sam and Lila sneak in to check cabin 1 to see if they can find anything. They look in there and they notice that the curtain's missing. Then Lila sees a piece of paper about the money that was written down that Marion was trying to count. Now, wait a minute. Number 1, you didn't flush that stuff down the toilet. And number 2, the paper's been in mint condition sitting in the toilet for a fucking week? Really? Man, get the fuck out of here with that. Come on, man. So anyway, they're thinking to themselves, Norman knows something about the money. Which we know he doesn't. He buried all that shit in the lake. So anyway, they come out the room and Norman's actually back in the office. Now, the thing is, he probably knows what they've been doing. Now, why do I think this? Because behind the picture frame in his office, he's got a peephole that he can see through in the wall. Because at one point, he was looking at Marion, changing and doing all types of stuff. Yeah. So it gets to a point where Sam is going to distract Norman and keep him talking while Lila goes in the house and investigates. So at one point, we saw Norman going back to the house. Now, this is before they start doing the investigation. He's supposedly talking to his mother. Then we see him carrying her downstairs. All right, now back to current events. So now Lila searches through the room and she sees an indentation in the bed indicating that the mom was there. She goes downstairs, she realized Norman's coming back and we're like, wait, what? So it turns out Sam was asking some tough questions and he was getting enough of it, you know what I'm saying? So the conversation went left and then he ends up hitting him with a freaking mug or something, knocking Sam unconscious for a little bit. Norman comes busting through the door, Lila hides downstairs. He ends up going upstairs to check on his mom. Wait a minute, no, he's probably just checking upstairs because he had already put his mom downstairs. So she's downstairs, she spots the mom, and it turns around, all you see is a skeleton. Dan, 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 dan. I know her natural reaction was to start screaming or whatever like that, but I'm like, what the fuck are you screaming for? Norman's right upstairs. Then he comes back downstairs with a dress and a wig on. We're like, he's the killer the whole time. Dan, dan, dan. He had a knife, he was about to stab Lila, and all of a sudden Sam came out of nowhere and gave the drop on him. And they got him arrested. Now back at the police station, that psychiatrist is talking to everybody. He gives these detailed information about what he learned from talking to Norman. Turns out Norman had a split personality between him and his mother. He truly believes his mother was the one killing all these people. Now he's basically turned into his mother. But the crazy thing is, he actually killed his mother. So apparently this is a story that happened 10 years ago. Apparently his mother was dealing with some type of plumber or something like that and they loved each other, but they kept ignoring Norman. Or she kept ignoring him. And I think she abused him and stuff like that. They didn't really get into full detail. Online, he ended up poisoning both of them with some cyanide. I was like, oh shit. The thing is, in his mind, he doesn't believe that his mom is dead. That's why he takes on the persona of his mom. He was only doing that halfway through, up until the point he got arrested. Now his mom is fully taken over his head. And the last image we see is a crane dragging up Marion's car out of the lake. They confirmed Marion and the detective are done deal dead as shit. But the thing is, they were so convinced that he took the money. The story wasn't about the money, it was about a crime of passion. The thing is, Norman wasn't thinking about the money because he never wanted to leave the hotel. He never wanted to leave the house, he had too many memories of his mom. It's crazy. It was my first time watching it fully, and I never really understood at first, like, everything they would show was the damn shower scene, of course. I never really knew she stole $40,000. I never knew he was pretending to be his mother the whole time and killing people. And you think to yourself, how many other people is he put in that swamp? He's willing to kill a random girl and a private investigator. Is that the reason nobody really comes there like that? Or is it because when people come there, they don't leave? Psycho on Netflix. Check that shit out.